In this video, you will learn how to rewire your brain so you find it hard not to do the hard work. The reason you're struggling to actually get your work done is because your reward system is fried. You're overstimulated and your dopamine levels are all over the place. And the only way to fix this is to chase real dopamine, the one that will actually allow you to get the work done. Because if you start enjoying real dopamine, training will feel as fun as playing the PS4. The gym will feel as fun as scrolling on TikTok. But first, you need to understand what dopamine even is, because once you do, you'll be able to manipulate it to your own liking. Most people think that dopamine is the pleasure reward system. They have this false understanding that dopamine is released the most when you attain something. But the truth is, dopamine is actually the desire reward system. You don't get a surge of dopamine from getting something, but more so in the anticipation of getting something. Think of it like watching highlight reels of your favorite players. You get all hyped up when you watch the highlight reels. You start imagining yourself doing the drills. That is when you get a surge of dopamine, the anticipation of being that good. But the moment you close the app and step outside the train, the feeling crashes because the anticipation is gone. Your brain got its reward from imagining the outcome, and therefore the training now feels pointless. And that's why watching hours and hours of highlight reels makes you less motivated, not more. Your brain thinks that it's already done the work. Now, this first one will guarantee that you get over your lack of motivation, but it's also one that most players don't understand. It's not the easiest to do, but every player that you admire out there has already embedded this deep in their bones. An easy way to explain this is to use the example of a bodybuilder. Imagine a professional bodybuilder. They're in the gym all the time. They train to failure, they eat well, they sleep 7 to 9 hours a night, they perform all the recovery that they need to so that their muscles can develop and grow. And they do that every single day. As someone looking from the outside, it seems mundane, it seems boring, it seems miserable. You can't imagine going through the same actions over and over and over again for days on end. You'd have to force yourself to go to the gym and train like that, but they seem to do it without any effort. In fact, it's the opposite for them. They would have to force themselves to stay at home and not work out. They'd have to force themselves to eat junk food, to stay up late, or to even miss their protein shakes. The life that you like, the one that you're living, is one that the bodybuilder sees as miserable. And it's because the bodybuilder sees themselves as a professional athlete. And professional athletes don't compromise on their nutrition, their sleep, or their training. You, on the other hand, are hoping to become a professional athlete. There's a gap between who you are and who you want to be. And the problem with most of us is that we think that we have to become a professional athlete first, and then we will adopt the traits of the professional athlete. But it's actually the other way around. The actions that we take reinforces the identity that we want to build for ourselves and therefore gives us our dream life. The reason why academy footballers are obsessed with training is because that is what their identity is. I am an academy footballer. Whether you believe it or not, you see yourself through a certain lens. Right now, that lens might be I am someone who needs to scroll on social media when I want some time off. You need to change that and identify as an athlete or as a professional athlete and then carry out the actions that a professional athlete would if you want to become one. Now, this next one is the hidden cost of fake dopamine. We like to say that it's just 30 minutes of scrolling and it's just one more reel, but it's actually so much more than that. Picture this, you wake up one morning, you check your phone, and you realize that you're late for school. Immediately, you drop your phone on the nightstand and then you get up and hit the showers. You get out of the shower, you get dressed, you skip breakfast, pick up your phone, you hop in the car, and you're going to school. Now, you arrive at school, you meet your friends, and you forget about your phone, you don't check it at all. Throughout the entire day, even though the morning was stressful for you, you've realized that you actually got so much more done that day than you would have on any other day. And I don't know about you, but I have experienced this before. But why is it that when we're late for something, we tend to be so much more productive throughout the day? Well, it's because from the moment that you got up to the moment that you start your work, you're in momentum. Everything is happening so quickly that you just have to go with the flow. And even once you're in school or at work, you are still in that state and it takes you time to calm down from that state. But do you realize that when you do calm down and you do check your phone, all of a sudden, the moment that you check your phone, all that feeling that you had before just gets washed away? And it's because you have killed the momentum. You have now pressed the restart button, and in order to gain momentum, you have to start from the bottom again. Not to mention that every time you pick up your phone and scroll instead of actually doing your work, you reinforce the identity that you don't want, like we talked about in the first point. So, we've talked about the importance of building an identity and also the importance of momentum in order for a dopamine detox to happen. But how do you actually structure this plan? Well, here's your full protocol. Well, we want to reinforce your identity by building momentum. Whenever you spend your time away from a screen, you're actually going through a dopamine detox. Say you go to bed at 10 every night and you wake up at 7 in the morning, that's 9 hours without your screen, so that's 9 hours of dopamine detox. Now, your job is to keep that detox going for as long as possible throughout the day. You've already started with a large amount of momentum, and now all you have to do is just keep it going. Instead of scrolling on Instagram and TikTok when you wake up first thing in the morning, here are a few things that you can do instead. You can go out and get some sunlight, go for a walk, go take a cold shower, go for a run, go down to the field and do some ball work, or eat a balanced, savory breakfast. Now that you've done that, you want to remove your temptation of getting your phone in your hands for as long as possible throughout the day. Either put it on silent, turn off your data, or just put your phone in a completely different room for the rest of the day. Instead, do some low dopamine activities instead. And if you're wondering what they are, well, they're just basically the work that you've been avoiding until this point. Do some wall passing, run a few fitness drills, go to the gym, clean your room, meditate, or even read. Now, once you've ticked everything off, at the end of the day, reward yourself. Remember at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that dopamine is a desire reward system and not a pleasure reward system. Let the spike of dopamine come at the end of the day when everything on your to-do list has been checked off. Now, that's the easy part. The hard part is doing it every single day. And the most important thing that will help you do this every single day without dragging your feet is to make the identity shift. And if you want to know how to do that in more depth, check out this video right here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've gained something valuable from this video.